Thank you for staying with Channel 1. This is BizCheck, and we now want to get into the second hour of the program. The conversation is Matters Agriculture, and today we would like to see how to ensure that young people are getting more involved in agriculture. 61 years is the average age of a Kenyan farmer. What is the challenge? Why are more young people not going to the farms and, being involved in the agriculture value chain? And to have this conversation, we have Arthur Muiruri, who is the president of the Kenya Agricultural Students Association, as well as Eliud Bitok, who is an advisory board member at Kenya Agricultural Students Association. Karibuni sana.
Thank you.
Right. When you hear that number, 61 years of age is the average age of a Kenyan farmer, what comes to your mind as a young person? I'll start with you, Arthur.
For me, what comes to my head is that we need to have a change on that, and to have a perception, and maybe every player in the space of agriculture in Kenya, we should see how we should bring more young people to participate in agriculture. Because that means if 61 years is the average age of a farmer, and the lifespan of a farmer, the average lifespan of a Kenyan is around 70 years. That means in the next 10 or 20 years, we'll have no people to produce food in this country. Yeah.
Right, and that is, of course, a big challenge because people must eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You must
yeah.
eat,
Your thoughts, Eliud?
Yeah, I would want to say that 61 years is a long period. There's a lot of dynamics happening in agriculture. And if we really talk about 61 years, we will be reflecting on the outdated technologies that were being applied then in agriculture. So the current agriculture should be a little bit transformed, that we have a new way of doing agriculture. And we have youths who are the key drivers to bring in new aspects, new innovative ideas to be able to change this agriculture to the modern agriculture that we want to have a look at it. Yeah.
Before we delve into those solutions, you know, that are modernizing agriculture. For a very long time, agriculture was thought of as this back-breaking job that does not have any returns.
Correct.
And that is how a lot of young people shied away from going to the farms as their parents used to go, right?
Yes.
So what will it take to change this perception? Let's start with you, Eliud.
Now, first thing first, I want to mention that agriculture has been taken as a dirty job. Many people perceive agriculture as very dirty, and therefore we want to change this narrative and tell the youth there. They've been complaining there are so many issues and challenges affecting the youths, but we want to challenge them that from these dirty hands, you get what we call clean food. So it is these dirty hands that give us the clean food. So to change this perception, we need to start from the word go. Let's relook at our curriculum, for example. Let's appreciate agriculture as a profitable business and a platform to showcase some innovations that can bring solutions to the modern agriculture. So basically, we need to start from aligning our curriculum from the bottom level. We need to look at our children, or rather our pupils in primary schools. Let's talk about 4K clubs. Let us strengthen them. Let's also talk about the CBC component. Remember, right now the government is rolling out CBC, and in CBC our focus is, or the government focus is on skill development. So then let's develop the skill in this particular pupil or the student at high school level and be able to nurture this talent through the CBC platform, and eventually be able to also translate this skill into something meaningful for people to be able to appreciate, and for the younger generation also to be able to appreciate the contribution of agriculture in their lives. So if we are going to nurture this skill and eventually give it a return, or rather a reward in terms of course, employment and all the other benefits that comes with it, people will be able to change the perception, and they will now be able to uptake, or rather it will increase the uptake of agriculture as an enterprise and a profitable business.
Right. Arthur, your thoughts on that?
Okay, my thoughts on that maybe can be divided into two areas. One of them is to make agriculture more palatable to the young generation, and the other one is to reduce the barriers or the challenges that the young people are facing in the agricultural space. Now, a little about how the challenges that are existing currently. One of them that is more prominent, agriculture, mostly in Africa, it's done on land. The innovations are there, but we have not scaled to commercializing hydroponics as young people. Now maybe we should have ideologies on how we can utilize the small land that is there. Because you know, the land tenure system, our parents have that land and most of them don't want to leave the land to their generations now, so that you can have land to do agriculture there. And another challenge is financial access, because when you're doing agriculture, you need to have finances, and for that maybe the financial institutions in Kenya may tailor, I guess, loans that are addressing specifically the young people who don't have any collateral to give. Even some of them have not gone to school, but they want to practice that agriculture. Maybe they should have that financial accessibility. And another thing is about policy. The policies that are there, young people should be involved when they're being formulated. So at least even when it comes to the implementation of the policies, at least they understand what is happening. Yeah. And now making agricultural palatable is providing incentive for the young people and providing market for the whatever they are producing, so that at least they can see it is a good venture to come in, and so that we can demystify the notions and mindset and perception that agriculture is a bad career. Yeah.
Well, you talked about the challenge that is, of course, land.
Yeah.
A lot of our agriculture is done on land.
Yeah.
There's the issue of land subdivision that is going on, and farms are getting smaller and smaller, and of course also young people don't have finances. I would like to hear from you what solutions exist in terms of, you've mentioned hydroponics, and also across the agriculture value chain.
Okay. Now for the solution, maybe for a specific context of land, I can give an example. One of them is hydroponics, where you farm on vertical gardens and you use water rather than using soil, and you put nutrients on the water so that the plant can absorb that. Another thing is vertical gardening, where if you have a small space of land, you can, rather than cultivating horizontally, you cultivate vertical, sorry.
Yeah.
So that now you can utilize the upward space, which at least even when you have a small piece of land, the upward space is unlimited. You can go to up as you can be able to do it. And another thing is, on land is, I can give a context. You know, most of the government parastatals have land that is just idle. That is from the case that I have seen mostly. Maybe they can find a way on how that land can be utilized by young people to do cultivation, maybe on terms agreed by them, and at least it will support the long-run goal of making Kenya food secure.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Very important thoughts there. Eliud, yourself, in terms of solutions as well as maybe innovations that the young people can actually bring into this space.
One, you've just mentioned about the solutions that we can bring on board, and I'm looking at it from this point of view. We are nurturing youths. And if you look at what is happening currently, we have a number of jobless youths. This is a time bomb. Remember, we are breeding a generation of jobless youths is actually in a hungry continent, let me put it in quotes, in lack of a better word to say, Africa is grappling with issues to do with food insecurity and all that. Yet we have very energetic and young and youthful workforce. So I look at it from this point that we need to bring in the industry to come on board now and then connect the training institutions to the industry. Let's have an opportunity, because there has been a mismatch between the training aspect and the market. Just like a farmer who goes to farm. When he goes to farming, or when she undertakes the farming, she should be aware of where to take the produce. Is there a market for what you are doing as a farmer? Similar to the youths, and similar even to these training institutions. As we train these particular students, do we look beyond and focus on where next? How do we manage the transition from the training to the next level? So I look at it from the point of view that we need to strengthen the industry and the academia side of the coin, so that we make sure that the programs that we do in our training institutions, we have a connection to the demands of the industry. What do the industry want? What specific skills do they want? By looking at that, that will really bring a lot of solutions. And by saying that, we will be able to observe a number of graduates that graduate and they don't have enough jobs for them available. So if the industry is able to tell us the demands, or rather the needs that they need, we will be able to equip these learners, or rather the training institute will be able to equip these learners to suit what the industry wants. So that if we are junking out 10,000, and today in Kenya, if we junk about maybe 100,000 graduates, and we are able to observe like even 20,000 from the private sector players and even the government and all that, it will be a very good solution in as much as making the youths appreciate what they learn in school. Number two is that we need to set up incubation centers. The problem, actually, in most cases, you realize that we have youths who have been exposed to adequate training in terms of their curriculum. But you realize that they have ideas, but where to incubate these ideas is not available. They don't have the money. My colleague has just mentioned about the aspect of a lack of funding to be able to execute that which they have in mind. So if through the government and all the other private sector players and even NGOs, if we have a way of coming together, set up an incubation center to be able to nurture these talents, allow this youth a space to be able to showcase what he or she has acquired or feels that will work in bringing agricultural solutions to farmers, then that will be the way to go. I would want to mention that, because I've seen this happen here in the University of Nairobi and also in Murang'a University, amongst other universities, we have what we call Kantaria Technology and Innovation Center that has just been set up as a way of bringing these ideas for the youths to be able to give them a space, allow them to incubate, bringing the private sector players to be able to invest in it, support these youths, and I'm very sure with that we are going to get a number of solutions and also engage the youths in bringing the solutions to agriculture.
Right. Arthur, I see you nodding. You have thoughts to add?
Yeah, maybe to add on that, on part of solutions. Yeah, maybe as my colleague has said, academic institutions are very critical on matters of youth employment, specifically in the space of agriculture, because whatever you learn that is whatever you'll go to practice in future. And if there is a mismatch between what you're learning and whatever the industry needs, that means you will not be compatible with the industry. And that will elevate the unemployment notion. Now maybe having incubation center, that is one which is good, and they should not just be structures there. They should be active and engaging the young people, specifically the student and us Gen Zs, so that, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when we were young in primary school, we used to have gardens that you had to tend to and make sure that your beans or your maize actually grows to fruition. And we were very excited when we harvested, you know, even if it was a handful of beans, you were very excited. But by the time I was getting to high school, the people who were taking up agriculture even as a subject were very minimal, right? Very minimal. Eliud, I'd like to hear from you. You mentioned 4K clubs. What do you see happening right now in that space?
Now, thank you for that. I think there is a disconnect between what happens at the lower levels and what happens as you advance. Because you realize that, as you just mentioned, at lower levels, when we are being engaged at 4K clubs and all that, it is an initiative that is meant to really build up our skills and appreciate what agriculture is all about. Remember the contribution of agriculture to the economy, and of course even the job opportunities and all that. But now, I think where the problem is that we lack adequate mentorship, especially at transition level. And you see, it also builds up from the perception that we are talking about. But you know the Gen Zs and also, of course, I will say youths in general, they are focused on white-collar jobs. They really want to appreciate being seated in an office and being seen on camera and all that. But really, if we are able to manage the transition from 4K clubs now as they move into high school and now start demonstrating whatever they grow on their farms through the demonstration plots that were there, and even to the universities now, having also the demo plots and the innovation centers, we will be able to bring solutions to that. So really, I look at it as a challenge of mentorship. We really need to strengthen mentorship at lower levels so that we are able to maintain the same number of students to transit to the next level and eventually even to the university level and all the colleges and all that. So really, there is a problem on mentorship. Yes.
Both of you are university students, yeah?
Yes.
Right, yeah?
Yes.
And you are studying agriculture or agriculture-related courses.
Yes.
I would like to hear from you from a personal perspective, how you got to decide that that is the line you want to follow. I'll start with you, Arthur.
Okay. Now, for me to decide on doing agriculture, it was maybe a quite interesting coincidence because me in high school, much of the agriculture, because when I was growing up, agriculture was form of a punishment. Now, whenever you go, you come to school late or probably you make noise, you're told go to the farm and do this work. Now with that, you tend to disconnect completely with agriculture. Now for me, I was good in mathematics. Now I wanted to do BCom, but miraculously, I just found myself doing agricultural education and extension for my undergraduate. And for the first year, it was quite a struggle, but from second year, I just realized that was the best decision that has happened so far. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. Yourself, Eliud?
I would say that one of them, of course, is what my brother has alluded, but the other thing is that our settings also defined our careers to some extent. I'm brought up in a place whereby agriculture is valued as one of the source of livelihood. In fact, some of us, we've schooled out of the returns from agriculture. But I realized that we are not doing agriculture to the satisfactory levels, because at times we just look at it from the media and even the internet and all that, and we find that there is a way agriculture is being done elsewhere. So now I challenged myself that, you see, there is no way we can farm 10 hectares of land and get this few bags of maize, for example. So how is it that we can, how better can we do it so that we make sure that we are able to transform this and be able to achieve exactly what we are able to read even from the medias? So I was challenged. Personally, I like science. I do like a lot of research, and maybe I did mention, I failed to mention that I'm a PhD student.
Right.
at Murang'a University of Technology, currently at my research stage. So really, these are some of the issues that brought up that desire to be able to change the way things were happening in the society, and especially with agriculture. Our parents were all farmers at that level, and we've really grown out of farming. And therefore, becoming part of a solution to transforming that agriculture is what really inspired some of us, and personally me.
Right. Thank you for sharing your stories, and I hope someone out there is thinking of following the path that you've taken. You are in the academic space. You interact with a lot of academia, and I would like to hear from you. Research has been very highly underfunded in this country for a very long time, and we know that for the solutions to come together that actually make sense for the Kenyan farm, you know, as opposed to an American farm, the Kenyan farm, research has to be done. Yeah, I would like to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Maybe we can start with him. Arthur?
Okay. Now, maybe for me to share that, I might include a small analogy on why there is a much disconnect on matters of agricultural research. As an association, Kenya Agricultural Student Association, now we were brainstorming on a way on how, not on a way, it is a challenge where for me as an undergraduate student, I just go to school. In my 4th year, I'm supposed to submit an agricultural project, which I have to do research, but after I'm done, that project will be picked and placed in the shelf of the university, and that is it. But now, there is more than that, because some of them, the students do with them from the heart, and they want to see that change happening. But now, because you're only learning towards your grades so that you can graduate in time and everything else, now I guess that is where we can tap that opportunities, because I know in Kenya we have a lot of students who are doing agriculture, and the research that they do, maybe we can find a way on how, because the research is already there, and probably the solution, when you go to the field and correct all that data on a specific problem that you identified, now how to take that idea and that problem from your thesis booklet to a farmer perspective so that you can address that challenge and the farmer can feel that. I guess the government, private sectors, and institutions like Kantaria Agricultural Technology Innovation Center, maybe I have to give that example because that is the one that I have interacted with. Yeah. And partnership between private sector and the government and the academia, so that to enhance whatever is there, to scale it and be a solution to the farmer. Yes.
Right, thank you for your thoughts. Eliud, thoughts on research as well as implementation. We know that they say Kenya has very good papers, but they're all sitting on shelves, yeah?
Sure.
Yeah, please.
So on research, just as you mentioned, there is a challenge of funding. And I want to implore the training institutions, including the universities, that there is need to increase the budgetary allocation for research. Because remember, why do we do research? We are doing research basically to bring solutions to problems. Because one of the key aspects that informs the topic of your study when you are doing research is a problem identified somewhere. So then how do we solve this problem if we don't fund the whole idea about solving the problem? So we are able to address this by increasing, because we are expecting the government to fund us, we are government institutions, but out of the allocated funding, how much have we allocated to research? So maybe we need to have a discussion there so that we ensure that being the core business of an institution of higher learning, or rather any institution, research is very important. So teaching and research. So let's have a huge allocation of funds onto that aspect so that we are able to translate the ideas that these learners have to meaningful and impactful solutions. Let's not leave students with good ideas but nowhere to execute those ideas. I will also want to emphasize that I really want us to, or rather I really implore the training institutions to strengthen the collaborations with the industry. For a long time, I think the industry has been overlooked in this, because we have industries who are able to fund these ideas. Some industries are very critical in some sectors. For example, if you are talking about doing the modern agriculture, we have issues to do with drones, for example. We have issues to do with AI and all that. Youths are very vibrant in that. They want to adopt the latest technologies in a particular sector or in a particular field. But then the industries are the ones to implement some of these ideas, because these youths will just come up with an idea, but now through the platform to showcase some of these ideas, these industries will be able to fund some of these ideas and eventually be able to adopt it as part of their framework to be able to cascade it now to farmers, because they have the financial muscle and all that. So when we get these industry players to come in and look at what our students have in mind, I'm very sure that some of them will be very interested about what is happening, and through that they may be able to fund some of these particular innovations. And also, it also motivates the students. If I'm a student today and my research, having presented my research, is adopted by a particular firm, and tomorrow as I walk around, I see maybe an implementation of that project out of my thesis or out of my research work, I'll be very much happy, because I know I have contributed towards bringing a solution to one or two or three of the challenges that affects the society. Yeah.
Arthur, you mentioned that you are studying for extension services.
Yes.
I know that extension services in this country have been quite a challenge. Yes. Scarcity of extension service officers, farmers have had to, find solutions on their own. As you're studying this and going into the job market, what do you hope to change?
Okay. Now, for extension services, first of all, they are devolved to the county government, and yes. For the extension officers, maybe in Kenya, when you graduate as a graduate, now it's for you to go and find your own mechanisms and how you will be able to train the farmers and everything. Now, for me, as part of a solution, I would think if probably extension services are, they are not regulated currently. Even you just have a small knowledge of agriculture, you can just go out there and maybe practice extension because you believe you have that knowledge. But mostly when you go to classroom, now you have an understanding of different theories on how extension is supposed to be done. And now that is why you see most of the extension, probably private extension, it is not that conducive because it is not regulated by anybody. You just wake up and decide to educate people on a topic and you go and do that. But for me, for a solution, as I have said, I can maybe prefer that the extension services to be in a more moderated way. Maybe I can borrow reference from other professions because agriculture is a profession on itself. For example, for the lawyers, they have the Law Society of Kenya, and that governs how they practice law in Kenya. The extension maybe should borrow much of that, and at least there be a moderating agency on how extension is done, so that at least even when you go and lie to a farmer and there are some repercussions in that, and that will be able to empower farmers more, because the data or the knowledge that will be given, it will be on point. Yes.
Right. We have seen a number of solutions that have come up, innovative and technological solutions, and people are offering let me say, remote extension services, yeah?
Yes.
I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. There's a farmer who told me you can only do so much with stuff you get on the phone. You know, you have to have someone look at the quality of the leaf and all that stuff. So young people are innovating. They're coming up with solutions. Are they speaking to the challenges that the farmers are actually facing?
Yes. Most of the extension solutions that are present, maybe I can give an example of the AI models that are being developed to assist farmers diagnose different problems within the farm. They are quite good ideas and quite innovative because now they reduce they increase the accessibility of extension services. Because, for example, you have a cow within your farm and it needed immediate attention for a specific problem that it is having. Now, you know, if you have an AI model that you can be able to diagnose that, you can call the doctor and give a specific context of whatever you have there, so that when he comes, he will have to now take the, I guess, medication or treatment from there, rather than you call a person to come and check, then now you take action from there. At least you have an immediate response. But now on a second thought, for extension, I believe they are supposed to be having a humanly experience, because, for example, like when we sit here and share our experience, that is more of profound on the possibilities that can have, because the farmer will share what he has and the expert will share on different solutions to that. But for the AI, you just feed and it gives you one response that you have to work with that now.
Right.
But when you interact in two of you, at least you exchange from whatever you see from the cows and maybe the crops and other things.
Right, thank you. Eliud, I'd like to now hear your thoughts on the two questions that I've asked. The challenge of scarcity of extension services for farmers, as well as the solutions that are coming up. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me begin with the second question.
Right.
You mentioned about whether the ideas and the innovations that are being set up by the youths are really informing the problems that are facing the farmers. You see, at this point in time, we need to look at agriculture holistically, because agriculture also feeds some other sectors of the economy. So you cannot talk about agriculture without talking about education. You talk about agriculture, you mention health. You talk about agriculture, you mention transport and all that. So I wanted to give an example of an app that has been developed. Where I come from, that is Murang'a University of Technology. There's a mobile hub that has been developed by a student. Basically, this is an app that maps or brings together several players in it. One is that it's an app that is meant to bring in the farmer and various input providers, service providers. For example, we are talking about an app that is able to inform the farmer. For example, when a farmer wants to source for seeds to plant, just gets the app, just the same way you just transact on your Safaricom app. So just gets to the app, he'll be able to see a list of agrovests that are available or the seed providers that are available, and be able to select which one is nearer to them, be able to just order and have that one delivered at his or her doorstep. So you see, that one is already bringing a solution, because it really minimizes that transportation cost and all that. Number two, it also creates job opportunities for the youths. Remember, we have so many border riders. Youths are trying to equal a living from all sorts of activities that they do. So by coming up with this app, is able to address the issue of employment opportunity, because that particular fertilizer has to be brought from a particular service provider to this farmer at that rural setup. Number three, in this particular app, we also have extension service providers also onboarded on this app. For example, if I'm experiencing maybe a particular symptom or rather a disease affecting my crops, through that particular platform, I can be able to search for an agronomist or somebody, a pathologist to come and just assess my farm. At the click of a button, I'm able to find one and also get that service delivered at the doorstep. So these are some of the things that we are saying. Some of these innovations by the youths are game changers, because at the end of the day, that particular farmer will just consume exactly an idea that has been incubated by this particular youth, given a platform to do that.
Eliud, I would like you to, in very few words, finish your answer on extension services, and also just tell us what is happening tomorrow before I close with Arthur.
Sorry, thank you for the opportunity. I was saying that many farmers have not appreciated the role of extension farmers, extension officers for that matter. So you realize that they don't know that these are the agents of deploying the current information or even the weather information, latest technologies, and even innovations to the farmers at grassroots level. So the earlier they understand this, they will be able to incorporate or rather pay up for the services that are being offered by these officers. So I think the challenge is actually lack of understanding on the role played by these extension officers. So perhaps we need to do more of capacity building on that. Now, the second question that you've raised is that tomorrow we are having an agricultural industrial workshop, linkage workshop happening at the University of Nairobi, CATIC Center for that matter. This is a workshop that is meant to bring in academia and the industry players together. So tomorrow we are expecting a panel of students. We have academia represented by the lecturers and professors. We'll also have the industry players, the private sector. We also have the NGOs, all of them sitting on a round table to discuss the connection between this industry and academia. How should we align our curriculums to suit what the industry wants? Because we really want to bridge this gap, because we've realized that the weak links between these gaps is what is really causing a lot of lack of opportunities for our youths and all that. So as I finish, so tomorrow we look forward to having that discussion, and this discussion has been facilitated or rather supported by Elgon Kenya Limited, which is one of the leading agricultural inputs
Thank you.
supply.
I cannot really take something that looks like a marketing gig here, but yeah, thank you for that. Arthur, your closing remarks, 30 seconds, please.
My closing remarks will be on the position of youth-led agricultural related organizations in association maybe and organization in championing for more inclusive youth engagement in agriculture. Maybe they need to be supported, and so that whatever interventions they have, they can be able to be amplified and scaled, so that at least at the end of the day we have more young people engaging in the space of agriculture.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I will take those as your closing remarks. We are out of time here, but I have been speaking with Arthur Mwiruri, who is the President, Kenya Agricultural Students Association, as well as Eliud Kibet, who is an advisory board member at the Kenya Agricultural Students Association. I will now pave way for my colleague Sheila Yogo, who is on standby to bring you Kurunzi Mashinani in the Swahili language. My name is Betty Kiptum. Thank you very much for staying with us on BizCheck, and enjoy the rest of your viewing. Bye-bye.